First of all, Afghani people love Indians a lot. There's a deep connection, deep-rooted connection, admiration and love for each other. Second, what clicked with between me and the trainings with the Atisalat was that Atisalat was looking for someone who could deliver practical trainings, not the bookish one. Me being a psychologist and practicing psychospiritual counselings, uh, the trainings I was delivering was something they were looking for that could practically bring in changes which was visible. So after the first training, they were very happy, and I was privileged that they showed trust in me and they invited me once again. And it was a even bigger program. Last time it was trainers training. This time it was leadership development program, and all the managers and assistant manager level people were there. We had good 20 people of Etisalat, and it went very well.
Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today I have the distinct pleasure, honor, as well as I'm delighted to be talking to a good friend who is a life coach based in Jaipur, and recently he was in Afghanistan. So here is this universal human international communication connecting New York, Jaipur, and with special reference of Afghanistan in the context of learning and growing together. So first of all, Nitinji, as I welcome you for this conversation.
Thank you, sir. Afghani people love Indians a lot. There's a deep connection, deep-rooted connection, admiration and love for each other. Second, what clicked with between me and the trainings with the Atisalat was that Atisalat was looking for someone who could deliver practical trainings, not the bookish one. Me being a psychologist and practicing psychospiritual counselings, uh, the trainings I was delivering was something they were looking for that could practically bring in changes which was visible. So after the first training, they were very happy, and I was privileged that they showed trust in me and they invited me once again. And it was a even bigger program. Last time it was trainers training. This time it was leadership development program, and all the managers and assistant manager level people were there. We had good 20 people of Etisalat, and it went very well.
So, talk to me a little bit more about the composition of this group. You said executives and managers. So, were these people trying to improve themselves in the marketing skills, organizational skills, what field? And if you summarize the essence of what you tried to convey, what was it?
In one sentence, I would say leadership development is the holistic development of your own self. Because the first leader that you need to lead is your own self. That is the first leader you need to groom and lead. If you can lead your own self, only then you can lead the group. And the most wonderful thing is that these people are actually hungry to learn. And
Okay,
even they,
I'm also hungry to learn from you, if not as much as they were. But when you say the first person is that you lead yourself, now what do you mean? I need you to elaborate on it. And most of the people would think that, oh, I'm leading myself. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
okay. Let's start it with the psychology and then we will go into the personal part of it. The psychology says that your personality is governed by three things. First is the desire, second is the training that you have, and the third is uh, the wisdom, the knowledge of right and wrong, or and even beyond. So, a common man's life is governed mostly by desires. He is governed by desires that, okay, today I am feeling lazy, my desire will win over me. So, I have chosen the wrong leader for today. The common man chooses the leader to lead their own life by accidents. That is why their success is also accidental. If it is like a rocket success, if the situation is like this, that you have no option but to work hard and to succeed, a common man will work very hard and succeed. Say, there was a story that somebody was participating in the race, and he had two horses. So the sledge he was using, it was, the one horse was behind another, and the horse was not running, so he just tried to change the horse, and the cart ran very fast and he won the race. Later he came to know the second horse was not horse, actually it was a wolf.
So,
So a common man learns and evolves like this when an emergency occurs. A wise man does not wait for an emergency. He doesn't let desires and training take over it. He is governed and led by wisdom. So that is the first leader we are talking about. The training, going beyond training, or choosing the right training to delay, to kill procrastination before it kills your potential, the right training to go beyond uh, laziness before it goes beyond all your goals, the right training to start believing in self before the doubts take over you and make you a nothing. So the biggest question was to train these people for the vision. And we were very happy to do that, because the first blockage for the vision is we are trained that we cannot think big. We can dream big, but we don't think big. There's a huge difference between thinking big and training big, dreaming big.
thinking big, training big, leading oneself, not guided or led by desires. The way you articulate these ideas, someone feels like jumping that, oh, here is the key. Probably there is a ray of light which comes to me from what this gentleman is talking. But then the next step is how to follow through. Um, you made a very interesting distinction between a common man and a wise man, and it it is not easy for anyone to put a label on him that I'm a common man or a wise man. But let's say there is an overlap area, and based
May
on
I
what,
chip in?
say that again.
May I chip in?
Sure.
Every wise man is a common man until he chooses wisdom to lead his life. And every common man is a wise man the moment he can choose the wisdom to choose his life, lead his life. So there is nothing like a wise man born or a common man born. A wise man living his life into a sleep of unawareness is called a common man. Or a common man who has decided to go beyond this sleep of unawareness is called a wise man.
Beautifully put, Nitinji. Now let me go to Afghanistan with you. And I think the day you landed in Afghanistan, there was a blast. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. There was a blast.
And it was not much far from the place where you were conducting this training.
3 kilometers away.
Oh man. So how
It
did you?
was not a blast, it was an attack.
Oh man. And who attacked? That is not clear.
Uh, they say ISIS attacked a government building.
I see.
And first there was suicide bomb, then there was firing and all that.
And there were 25 or 30 casualties. Huh?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. So now it becomes even more challenging for someone in your shoes who has gone from India for a training to, in layman's words, I would say you were there to boost their morale or
True.
to empower them with additional enthusiasm and all that we were just now talking. But in the backdrop of such a situation, how you yourself could stay composed? First, tell me, because most of the people immediate concern, what will happen to me? uh, I'm all the way away from my family, away from India. Was there anything like that? A sense of nervousness was there in you?
Not at all. Actually, I have had this experience even worse than this because I have worked with Sri Lankan army in Sri Lanka. So at the peak of the war time. So I think I believe that the Almighty has sent me for a purpose. So it will never call me back until the purpose is over. So
And,
that way.
and you figured that purpose. You figured out that purpose.
Oh yes, I have figured it out. I have figured it out.
And what is that?
The purpose is to resolve myself and then help others resolve.
So, how was the process of addressing this group for the first day? Was it in the backdrop of the memory of this attack which just happened when you initiated your conversation? What was the ice breaking sort of initial dialogue exchange?
No, the initial dialogue exchange was stirring their ever present dignity feeling, because Afghan people are known for their pride. They have never let anyone in the world to rule them. It shows they have the pride within. But the present situation has shaken it a bit. So I was just trying to take them back to their always present pride. And they are very polite people, very polite, very loving people, very contrary to what these situations are in Afghanistan. And the blast took place in the afternoon time when the half session was over. But the most interesting part was to see their composure. There was no impact on them. It is funny and ironic how they have taken it just like a part of life, and they are still trying to grow. They are still trying to create something creative in their life.
We have participated in this training session from 18 December till 20 December. The training was held in Salat Training Center. The training was basically on the leadership skills, and the most important aspects was delivered by Mr. Neta. It was very useful and beneficiary for our department activities, which was appreciated by us, and we are thankful for the training has delivered to many other departments, and which was appreciated, and we are thankful and have hope to have more session in coming future with it Salati. Thank you very much.
So there is a sense of lack of surety about one's existence, um, which may take away your motivation, your focus. So was there something like this in the air that you were finding in Afghanistan?
I would quote you an example. The fish which lives in salty water never knows it's a salty water. For the fish, it is the water, it is
Right,
the life.
right, right.
So, the instability, the volatile nature, it is all for the people who are coming from the outside world. For the people who are living in Afghanistan, that's life. They have taken it so beautifully into their stride. They are least bothered about what is happening, what is not in their hands. These are lovely people. They are working very hard, and they are not at all shaken by any of these incidents which are not in their hands and which they do not deserve to get.
Absolutely. So, Nitinji, what I hear from you about Afghan people, I'm inspired by them. And through you, I think the sense of this current of love is reaching out to more and more people. And through our conversation, I find this is a very, very significant tool that internet has provided us, whereby we both are also, in our own humble way, are connecting humanity through our own experiences, through our own insight. And I think your journey to Afghanistan and agreeing to share with me these experiences of addressing the Etisalat telecom giant executives and conducting this leadership development program is wonderful. Now let us go towards leadership. Now leadership, as you were earlier referring to, is to decide whether your desires would lead you, and you talked about common men and wise men. So that makes me think that you're talking about, in a sense, determination. And we generally feel that some people are born with a sense of determination and some are not. What is your take on this?
I will take it a bit further. Determination is something which is like willpower, which is more suppression and controlling yourself. I'm talking about wisdom, which is beyond determination. It is like when you reach a level in your life, say 10 years or 11 years, you automatically leave your toys. Not because you are determined, because you smile and you realize you have better things.
Right.
So the funniest thing about laziness and 90% of things which kill the productivity of your life is that actually you do not want them. You realize that you have better things to do, better things to achieve, but you are just stuck in the flow. So you don't need determination. Determination is forcing yourself. Determination will die. Actually, you need wisdom. You need to grow out of that pattern of life which you have created unknowingly, and you are trapped in it like a whirlpool.
Okay. You speak so well. I don't like to interrupt you, but uh, I think that's part of what I'm doing right now. I
So,
want you to share with me your understanding of the word wisdom. And typically speaking, as I have seen, this word we associate with people who are either on the path of spirituality, or some people who are very mature. And generally, these people are not working in an office setting. Generally, these people are not out there in any competitive environment trying to sell any product or service. So, when you bring wisdom in the corporate world, does it changes its color, or how is it the same wisdom that we are talking about together?
absolutely same wisdom. Knowing what is right is knowledge. Being one with what is right is wisdom. So,
Wow.
who needs it more? Not the one who is sitting in the cave, the one who is under pressure, whose decision can decide the whole future of a company. He needs wisdom more.
Okay, now talking about your surroundings in Afghanistan, I believe it's very cold there also at the time.
Oh yes,
You were there in December, right?
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so December and cold Afghanistan, and the way most of the American cities are equipped with centralized heating, etc. I think they don't have it there, and I'm not sure whether you were having 24-hour electric supply also in Afghanistan.
No, no, no. We did not have electric supply, and because the company has its own safe houses, so they have old gas heaters there. So that is the only way to save your life
So
because it was actually cold.
were you comfortable
Minus eight.
overall that way?
I was not very comfortable, but it was okay. After 1 or 2 days, I became used to it.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the group that you were working with in Afghanistan, the Etisalat, and what was the common concern that if they raised during your session?
The communist, not concern, I would not say concern. The communist thing that was that they wanted to improve upon was their ability to think big, to have that vision, to grow big. Because there's a sense of, the country is going through a turmoil, and it is impacting the economy of the country. So the jobs are drying up. if you and all these people have good jobs, so the struggle is to cling on to the job. That is a big struggle. And we were very happy to train them to think.
Hi everyone, this is Hamidullah Samadi, manager Core and VAS in Etisalat, Afghanistan. This message is to thank Mr. Nitin Saraswat for delivering best practical trainings to Etisalat Afghanistan staff, especially for the trainers, TUT, and leadership development program. Mr. Nitin Saraswat is really a well delivering teacher. I can say that no one else I have seen in my life can deliver the training such in practical way. So I have to say thank you, Mr. Nitin Saraswat, for delivering such trainings to the Salat Afghanistan staff, and we will be always remembering for what has been delivered to the Salat Afghanistan staff and our training department even thanking for such a great training delivery, and we will always remember Mr. Nitin Saraswat. Thank you very much and hope to see you again.
Okay, tell me, how do you train anybody to think because big? Because most of the time people start looking at themselves and they think about what they have access to, their resources, and if they have failed in certain attempts or if they don't see any clear-cut pathway for their growth, then they feel that this is a futile exercise. Even if I do everything that I can do, I'm not going to go further. Allow me to add another thing. In general, many people think that it's all destined. If it is written, it'll happen. If not, it won't happen. So, how do you address these areas?
There was a beautiful joke that one guy used to go to a temple and used to ask for the lot to win a lottery. 20 years happened, and one day the god to the Indian, say Shankarji and the Parvati. So Parvati ji asked Shankarji that why don't you make him win a lottery? So Shankarji says, I am very much ready to make him win a lottery. Alas, he buys a ticket. So even if it is destined, you have to find the book and read it.
Mm.
How will you come to know if it is destined or not? You have to try. In every religion, be it Islam or before I went to, I will tell you a very interesting thing. Before I went for these trainings, I completely read Quran Sharif once in English, so that I can quote things out of it. And I was shocked that even Quran Sharif says that Allah has given you free will. So what is destined is one thing, but even then you have to find what is destined for you. If you keep sitting and if you keep wasting your energy on trivial things, you have limited resource of energy. Now it is your decision, where do you put that? You put that in brooding, or you put it into making something bigger. Now coming back to your question, sir, that how we train people on thinking big, dreaming big. Unfortunately, the marketing era has de- deformed the real essence of self marketing. Self marketing is not boasting. Self marketing is presenting your right virtues in the right essence. And there's one problem with attitude: attitudes can't be faked. You can fake an attitude for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, but you can't fake it for an hour even. Same is with the virtue. You can't fake virtues. So if you are to market your virtues, first you have to get those virtues. And thinking big, what is the problem with people? Why can't they dream big? Why can't they decide to do big things? Because I can dream big. Dreaming big is not that big problem. The second thing is believing in that dream. You can boast of it that I believe in the dream. You can make others fool, but your inner sense knows you doubt it. So if you can think big, second, if you can believe in that big dream of yours, then it is the beginning of a vision. Then you can make a plan of it, and then you can put deadlines to it. The moment you have put deadlines to it, then it is ideation. So from vision to planning strategy to ideation, that is the path to achievement.
Usually, what you're talking about is probably the full lifetime job of a parent. Many times you think that parenting means teaching your kids the values that they should imbibe in life and move forward. But indeed, if you go there as a parent attitude while you are a trainer, uh, I'm just using my words and with my limited understanding, probably you're going yourself there with some sense of ego. If you are going thinking that you know much more than them. Now there would be people who will be limiting their ability to grasp what you are trying to convey because of their wall of ego. Do you see that sometimes in some of the executives? I think that is probably a natural thing to be there, or was it not there and there was a free flow of exchange of ideas?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, sir. Thanks for this. First of all, let me start with parenting because we have parenting sessions also. We deliver parenting sessions also. Even a parent with an ego can never be a parent.
Oh.
The first thing a trainer, mentor, and a parent has to master is the art of learning while training. Actually, the people who you are training, they make you learn things. So first, the trainer has to bow towards them, thank them in real. And that's why, again, I will quote, attitudes can't be faked. So I thank everyone who gives me an opportunity to work with them. So there is no ego. I crush and completely block out my ego before I go to training. I am nobody. I am someone because they have provided me this opportunity to train. I wish the same parents can do. And second thing, you learn a lot from the people who you are training. So the ego melts. If they bring in the ego, fortunately, thankfully, thanks to psychology, I have the tools to handle that. The only thing which is needed in the ego case is you have to take a step back and let the person win for 5 minutes. You let them win the battle and you win the war.
Wonderful. So now, talk to me a little bit about any interesting instance during the course of this training. Talk to me a little bit about the response of these executives who are attending this leadership development program conducted by you at Etisalat Telecom Company.
So the most interesting part was that we had one female participant, and it was supremely pleasurous. It gave me immense satisfaction to see her grow during these 3 days. So the first day she was hesitant to come and participate in the role plays. We have very practical training sessions, so we have a lot of role plays, we
Like,
have a lot of demonstrations. So there was a role play in which they were asked to imagine themselves as someone big and come and act like that person. So initially she denied, she declined. She said, "I don't want to come in front of everyone. I will be sitting in my chair and speak." I went to her and I said, "This is the moment to choose the leader that we were talking about. Choose who leads you." And you won't believe, after that, every time I called upon her, she came, and I could see that growth coming. I could see that confidence coming out, as if I have just opened up the cage of a lioness and she was out. And it was so wonderful to see her grow within these 3 days.
My name is Farida from call center as a team leader. Yesterday, the training was useful. We have appreciate from our trainer. We want in futures such as training, and we learn about the leadership a lot. All the best.
In future, inshallah, we are happy to have more sessions with Dr. Nathan.
From Dr. Nitin. To be honest, it was a fantastic day, and it's a great opportunity to learn something from him.
Especially, we learned about how to deliver a speech or deliver a message in a structured way. So we are really grateful from you.
So I'm talking to Nitin Saraswat. He's life coach based in Jaipur. He was recently in Afghanistan for training programs, which he conducted leadership development training, as well as emotional intelligence and stress-free living oriented.
If you allow me, I would like to quote two small incidents that
Please.
tells a lot about that country. I went to take Kandahar pomegranate juice, Kandahar anar juice. And the person who was making that juice was a poor fellow, not a rich person. Seeing me not belonging to that country, he denied giving me the juice he had. He took out a mineral water bottle, cleaned his whole system where he was taking out the juice, and used that water to make the juice and gave me in a disposable glass. He said, "You do not come from our country. The water may not suit you." And I was actually touched by the gesture.
Beautiful.
And he did not charge me even a single penny more. One more incident. When I was going back, the driver who was driving me refused to take money from me to pay for the parking of the airport, saying, "You are our guest. I can't take this from you. Leave apart any tip or anything." So it was very touching.
Absolutely, that's beautiful. And this brings me to the next reference, which is also a part of both these experiences. There is a kind of emotional bonding that we as human beings are blessed with. And when you see it expressed, manifested the way you experienced, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel that world is beautiful in spite of
Absolutely.
all the ugly side that is visible here and there, which we read often in news headlines. And so when you were conducting training related to emotional intelligence, first, how do you define emotional intelligence? Two, is it not a part of our nature? Do you need to do some extra work or pay additional attention to develop your emotional intelligence?
Oh, uh, the thing that you actually need to develop the most is emotional intelligence, because the word in itself is an oxymoron. How can emotions be intelligent?
Correct.
Because intelligence is logic and emotion is emotion. But it is the deciding which emotion rides you when that makes emotional intelligence very important. And there's a very funny thing: nature is such a cruel balancer. If it gives you more IQ, it lowers your EQ. So you feel more and you let the emotions govern you more. So it was a wonderful session with them on emotional intelligence because it was much needed one. And we talked about how a, an 8-second window decides. We have our own experiments, and now I'm so happy that the experiments I have been doing, the same experiments I have found in journals in US also. Your mind is emotion is like a whirlpool which takes over your mind. It is like, suppose you have water and I add blue color to the water. Now there is no water, only blue color left once added. Same is with the emotion. Any emotion, it has the power to take over you and you become the emotion. The problem with the anger is you become anger. Once you have become anger, you have no control to control it because you are anger now. You will be throwing things, you will be doing stupid things, which you can't imagine you doing yourself, because that time you are you. Now I am me. That time I was anger. That is why it is must, if you want real life, to know how to not let these emotions take control of you. You must be the master of emotions. Emotions mustn't be master of you.
This was conducted for AppTech International, Emotional
Aptic.
Intelligence, right?
Yes.
So,
Aptic International and Arif Azim Limited group together.
mhm. So share some tips for us. Many times, as you mentioned, the color of anger takes over, or the color of call it jealousy, or you don't like somebody having said something about you. So now, even though what he's saying is good for you, but you won't take it because you
If you allow me, I quoted a शेर, one Urdu couplet.
irshad.
वो जरा सी बात पे बरसों के यार आने गए, लेकिन अच्छा हुआ कुछ लोग पहचाने गए.
क्या बात.
That's how we live. That's how
This
we
is,
live.
yeah, this is also a song in Dostana, I think.
Okay. So that's what I quoted. I just reminded them that you do not realize what you lose. The first thing you lose is your peace of mind. So we made them realize the triggers of emotions that they have. Now it's a huge exercise. We cannot do it here. It's like everybody has trigger. Like I will tell you my trigger. My trigger is tone. So I can prepare myself, train myself. Okay, this is my trigger. This is something which makes me make my emotion go out of control. So the first thing is to realize that emotions have the power to kidnap your logic. So first realize that emotions have this power. Second, realize what are your triggers. Personally, we all have triggers. So we talked about a lot of triggers. Once you know what are your triggers, then you can just start working on those triggers. So we train them for one or two triggers. We made them realize what are the triggers. We gave them examples how wrong parenting can lead to these triggers. And finally, we asked them not to waste energy on how were taken you were controlled by an emotion. In Hindi, we say gussa aya, and then gusse pe gussa aya. I was angry, and then I was angry because I was angry. I do not realize that I am wasting all my energy. Like, funniest thing
Okay,
is
so
guilt.
taking to the lighter side, but a Urdu couplet, you must have heard it. It it refers to anger, गुस्सा. तो कहते हैं उनको आता है प्यार पे गुस्सा.
वाह,
उनको आता है प्यार पे गुस्सा, हमको गुस्से पे प्यार आता है.
प्यार आता है. वाह, this is height of emotional intelligence. Absolutely right.
So if you are emotionally intelligent, then you can avoid stress. So the second session that you had was stress-free living.
Absolutely.
Both of them have some
Connection.
area. Yeah.
Connection. Absolutely. In stress-free living, we mainly focused on few of the exercises that meditative exercises and few ways to handle stress. Like one of them is PMR. So PMR is one easiest form of exercise which can reduce stress and which is used by psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists all over the world. Because I was a little reluctant about talking about Yog Dhyan there, though they were very open to anything. But I just molded those meditative techniques, and we talked about those meditative techniques in reference to religion neutral terms. Like we did not use term Om, we used who. So who has same purpose that which Om has. And in Syria and all the Sufis they used who. Allah who you may have heard. So
Correct.
we modified a bit.
I was about to ask you how was the presence of or the absence of the reference of religion and culture, because many of these ideas somewhere have their connection in whatever faith you come from. So if
Absolutely.
so to find a way whereby you don't get entangled in any of those threads that most we have in our unconscious mind, and to navigate through, I think that might have been natural for you, or maybe it was a kind of additional challenge for you because you might
I
feel.
prepared for it well. I prepared for it well. I read Quran Sharif. I made sure that all the references were. Look, as a trainer, I am to utilize every opportunity which can provide, which can strengthen my training. So if the culture says Inshallah, I was using Inshallah. So the way they were using Inshallah, I was using Inshallah. I was quoting Quran Sharif. I was quoting Islam's things because every religion has bundle of wisdom in the same essence. So I was to tap it and I tapped it before I go. So I found who. So for oh I found who.
Mhm. Beautiful. So now, as we move towards the concluding part of our conversation, once again, I think it's very, very commendable that you were at ease in Afghanistan, not only at ease, but you were working in a collective way towards uplifting level of consciousness and understanding of them as human, and in what way they can bring out the best, and the positive mindset that you managed to sustain in spite of having at least heard that just 3 kilometers away from the training premises there was a blast which was quite dangerous, and it resulted into loss of nearly 30 lives. And so in general, now as we conclude, tell me a little bit about your impressions of Afghanistan. Were you able to go out? Were you able to see any place? How was the general feel, and the concern that people have for security? Is it taking away their ability to laugh and to engage in uh, fine arts, etc.?
Oh, I went around a lot and I was never bothered about my security. And for a common man, I don't think there's a real security threat. The security threat is for the government organizations, and if you are someone big shot. Even my company, the company guest house, it had security people. We were always escorted by guards. Last day even I shunned the guards and I on the Kabul streets. And believe me, it was just like as if you were in Chandni Chowk, or a little different than Chandni Chowk. Afghan jalebi I saw. I saw the same chola being sold. I saw same pakoras being made. Being a non-vegetarian country, obviously they have more non-veg things. But there's a aloo ka parantha which is called baluni. There is a naan, Afghan naan shop, and they call it Khushk Naan. And there's a place Pahalgam, and it's such a beautiful place to visit. It's a huge lake, and it's such a serene place to be into. And then we went to a place where the Jindal Steels have put a very big flag, which is they say in India, Indo-Afghanistan uh, friendship flag. And from there the view was amazing. And the same day America's vice president was also there in Kabul, so I could see a lot of uh, big American helicopters flying. So But overall, it's a lovely place. It's a lovely place. You can see the city hustling and bustling. And the funniest part is, which I couldn't understand how they have developed, such huge lines, such sluggish traffic, but nobody honking. Everybody was so patient. Maybe the hardship of life has taught people of Afghanistan the patience to be in a sluggish traffic. It
Wonderful.
was lovely.
Nitinji, thanks for taking out your time and
I
talking.
would like to mention Mr. Ali's name, who is the owner of one of the owners of Arif Azim Limited, because it was his initiative to invite me to Afghanistan, and because of him, today I'm able to work with three of these giants, and now I have a multiple entry 1 year visa, and very soon I will be able to visit and serve these people once again.
Wonderful. So we wish them that may they have a safe and secure environment, and we wish you also safety and security if you visit Afghanistan again or wherever you are. Now, as we conclude, and the time when we are recording this interview across seven seas, I'm here in New York, you're there in Jaipur. But what is timeless is our desire to excel, and we make use of time in a way that would help us bring out the best in us. So that way, when a new year begins, we look at that as an excuse to propel our energy and once again uh, invoke all that positive force which is dormant, and we make resolutions so that we do better than what we did last year. So tell me a little bit about anybody who is listening to you, whatever country he she is in, um, as on New Year or whenever they feel that, oh, I want to recharge and restart and reignite my passion to do the best that I can. Uh, what ideas could help them?
I will quote a शेर, खुद को अगर खुश रखना चाहो, दिल को हमेशा बच्चा रखना,
वाह,
पक्के रिश्ते दुख देते हैं, कुछ रिश्तों को कच्चा रखना.
क्या बात है.
So we all are born leaders. We all are born positive people. It is the wrong training of ours which has made us lazy. Have you ever seen a lazy kid in your life? I have never seen a lazy kid in my life. Have you ever seen a kid who is not keen on learning? No, always keen on learning. It is us who have polluted our minds. Let's pledge to unpollute the mind, to unlearn the wrong learnings, and we all are ready to blossom in the new year.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nitinji. Once again, lots of good wishes and many
Thank you very much, sir.
thanks.
It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, sir. So my guest, Nitin Saraswat, as mentioned, joining us from Pink City, Jaipur, uh, referring to his recent visit to Afghanistan, as well as universal principles of life which are relevant for one and all, wherever they are, whatever be the age. If you do not let your desires to be your leader, is what I remember from a lot of important enlightening ideas that came our way from this gentleman who is smiling. So keep smiling, sir. Thank you very much. Namaste.